Topping today's news, female activists protests the release of an unrehabilitated sex offender. Police discovered the body of a man in a burnt-out vehicle in the Big Pond area. A government minister and others had a scare on a flight to North Eleuthera today. And Team Bahamas ready for competition at the Track and Field World Championships in Budapest, Hungary. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jcn News. This is your Jcn Evening News. It is a pleasure to have you join us. Women activists, along with President of Families of All Murder Victims, Bahamas, Candy Gibson, in a demonstration at the gates of the Bahamas Department of Corrections this morning, calling for the powers that be to revisit legislation which allows repeat sexual offenders to be released back into society after serving their prison sentences. This comes after the announcement made by National Security Minister Wayne Munro of the scheduled release of 47-year-old Sidney Cooper, who has been convicted of 15 sex crimes.
After the Minister of National Security made it known that he would have met with the gentleman is not rehabilitated. And so we're actually going to let someone back in our society who is not rehabilitated. I personally feel that they need to revisit laws on the book as it relates to sexual offense perpetrators, pedophiles. There should be a 2-3 strike program after you commit the second or third crime against a child or a female. There should be a 2-3 where you spend the remaining of your life in prison. This gentleman is going to be released back in the community. We already have pedophiles and predators and living among us daily, messing up our 11-year-old was pregnant by her mother's boyfriend. We had a little girl was raped on Michael Road area. The other day, the next little child was raped in the Mountain Heights area. So we're going to release somebody else who is demon possessed. I personally feel like he should be ankle monitored. There still should be a bracelet on his leg, even though he's released, and he should be restricted and confined, not to go into so much feet of his house or wherever he stay, or they can even let him spend the rest of his remaining time in silence rehabilitation center.
Cooper, a serial sex offender, has an extensive list of offenses against women. He also served time for sexual assaulting a then 19-year-old. Regarding Cooper, who has displayed no signs of resisting his sexual urges, Ms. Gibson says, as a woman, she is very troubled by his release today.
As a female, I ain't gonna lie, I ain't sleep good at all last night because at the end of the day, what's me so sad is when these people go there and damage our little darlings. When they damage them, what they expect? What they expect from a nation with broken kids, hurting children, hurt children, violated children, violates other children. So my thing about this is we cannot just sit here idly and watch and know for a fact a person who is not rehabilitated is going to be released back in our society. Mind you, I have no problem because once you do the crime, you spend the time, you will be released. That's facts. You understand me? But this one here is different. This man, another two, you can tell this man have no respect. He has a demon. He corrupts a prosecutor inside in front of magistrate court. He even tried corrupts female officers who work here. Even a reporter who come in to visit him. This man has a demon. Demon, thank you, Legion. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna release him back in society. Then let him mess up someone's child or someone's family member. Who will be the next victim? Him or us? Which one?
Cooper is the second sexual offender to be released from prison in a year span. Police are aggressively investigating the gruesome discovery of the body of an adult male found burnt beyond recognition around 3:20 this morning. According to police, the fire department was called to bushes in the area of Blue Hill Road and Tucker Roads, which were engulfed in flames. The firefighters extinguished the blaze and subsequently discovered the body as well as a T-shirt covered with suspected blood. Police, after making further checks of the surrounding area, discovered spent ammunition. Police are appealing to members of the public who may have any information as it relates to this matter to contact 911, 919, or the Criminal Investigations Department, that's CID, or you can contact Crime Stoppers anonymously at 328-TIPS. That's 328-8477. The Ministry of Works and Utilities released a press statement today regarding the R.M. Bailey High School Lunch Pavilion roof collapse on Wednesday, August 9th. The statement says upon learning of the incident, the ministry immediately dispatched technical officers to undertake an assessment with respects to public safety, injuries, damage, and to ascertain the cause of the collapse. The statement said employees of the general contractor had removed some of the bracing, making the system unstable and causing a collapse of the trusses. There were no injuries, and the site has been secured from the public, no access to it from the public. Also, a work stop order has been issued. The statement says the contractor has accepted full responsibility for the collapse and has agreed to reconstruct the roof at no cost to the government. However, before the restart of any construction work, the contractor is charged with providing proof of a number of assurances and deliverables that the work will be done at a high standard. The Department of Inland Revenue has announced this year's back-to-school VAT holiday, which is set to commence Saturday, August 19th, tomorrow, through Sunday, September 10th. Items including personal computers and electronics, school supplies, school clothing, footwear, bags, and other related items will be sold at a zero VAT rate. Following this announcement, there have been some complaints that the VAT holiday is starting after some schools have already opened. Bahamas Union of Teachers President Belinda Wilson shares these sentiments.
School is opening for teachers August the 21st. Pay day is August the 29th. It's opening for the students on August the 28th. So parents who, depending on this August salary to prepare their students for school, will not have access to those funds. And I'm telling you, I know that the numbers will be low because the parents are depending on that pay in order for them to prepare their students. There was a teacher's morale survey that the Ministry of Education sent out several months ago. I serve on that teacher morale committee. They had a press conference some months ago. So in our committee, it was agreed and the government has approved a $250 allowance for teachers' supplies. Well, school opens next Monday. The teachers don't have the first dollar in their pockets. So if you are preparing for school, then I think the logical thinker would know that you would need the monies in your hands at least by July payday.
Mrs. Wilson says she had a conversation with the acting director of education and has hopes that teachers will get those much-needed monies in short order. She also responded to Minister of Education Glenys Hannah Martin, who believes the VAT holiday is set at the right time.
Well, obviously, if the minister said that was enough time, she does not have children in school. Furthermore, she's not poor, like the people in her constituency who are depending on the little check to prepare their children. So tell her to rewind, go in her constituency, do a survey, and she will see that the majority of the parents in the Anglican constituency are awaiting the few dollars to buy their children uniforms. And watch how the parents are going to flock to the various constituencies when they are doing the back-to-school giveaways, or the other entities are going to do the back-to-school giveaways. So tell her, get to reality.
Mrs. Wilson says she is also in discussions with the Ministry of Education with the idea of pushing back the start of the new school year to a later date.
You're not prepared. You're not prepared, and what they keep doing too is they keep chipping at the teachers' time off. You want teachers to work all year round. They're also doing summer school, and then you're going to open school earlier. You're going to have burnt out teachers, and if we're burnt out, we cannot give you our best. Yes, there is a policy about contact days with for the students, but if you open school early and the parents cannot purchase the uniforms, the lunch, and the books for the students, then they're not coming to school anyway until the following week. So let common sense prevail and logic.
I know when we spoke to the minister about the back-to-school holiday, she suggested that was enough time. So,
well, obviously, if the minister said that was enough time, she does not have children in school. Furthermore, she's not poor, like the people in her constituency who are depending on the little check to prepare their children. So tell her to rewind, go in her constituency, do a survey, and she will see that the majority of the parents in the Anglican constituency are awaiting the few dollars to buy their children uniforms. And watch how the parents are going to flock to the various constituencies when they are doing the back to school giveaways, or the other entities are going to do the back to school giveaways. So tell her, get to reality.
She maintains that she will continue to fight for teachers, students, and parents across the country until issues are resolved. The Ministry of Health and Wellness confirming that 3 positive cases of dengue fever were recorded here in the capital. The good news, all parties have been treated and successfully recovered. Health officials revealing, though, that these individuals reported no history of travel. The National Communicable Diseases Surveillance Unit, in collaboration with the Department of Environmental Health Services, DEHS, they have been actively monitoring this situation. Dengue fever is a viral illness spread by the Aedes aegypti mosquito. This mosquito lives and multiplies in objects which contain standing water, including tires, buckets, derelict vehicles, old appliances, and bottles. You're encouraged to cover water storage receptacles, check potted plants and bromeliads from standing water, and ensure screen doors and windows are intact. Although this mosquito can bite at any time, it is more active shortly after dawn and before dusk. Symptoms of dengue fever include headache, fever, nausea, vomiting, rash, aches, and pains such as eye pains, typically behind the eye muscles. You can get pain in your muscles as well, and the bones and joints as well. Individuals experiencing fever and 2 or more of these symptoms should seek help from a healthcare provider. According to the Ministry of Health statement, Environmental Health Services, in collaboration with the National Communicable Diseases Surveillance Unit, instituted preventative mosquito breeding measures. Regularly scheduled fogging continues as the weather permits. And finally, in this segment, with the announcement that Cynthia Mother Pratt will be taking on the role of the new Governor General on the recommendation of Prime Minister Philip Davis, the Governor General designate spoke with our Jcn News team today about the opportunity to serve the country in this capacity after being sworn in as deputy to the Governor General in July of this year. Cale Campbell sat with Mother Pratt and files this report.
From over the hill to the top of the hill in Government House, the life story of former Deputy Prime Minister Cynthia Mother Pratt, who is expected to take on the role as Governor General starting the beginning of next month, is one that Prime Minister Philip Davis remarked as, quote, endowed with service, particularly the 15 years of dedication serving the constituents of St. Cecilia.
I just want to help. I just want to make a difference. I just want to help to build lives. That has been me all these years. I haven't changed, and I'm too old to change now. And so I believe that since I've been around in your generation, the generation prior to you, and I'm in this generation, I think I know pretty much the pulse of my people.
JCN was granted an opportunity to speak with Mother Pratt, where she shared some of what she felt upon discovering she was next in line to become Governor General.
Some time ago it had been rumored, and I think the fact that I've been around for some time, and I know people when they start to talk about things, they must have heard it somewhere. But it was a little while ago, and even then I thought about it, and I wanted to know, well, if it happens, do you think you can make a difference? And I thought of the many concerns that I faced when I was Member of Parliament. And so there's much need. And so you have to take it one step at a time.
Prime Minister Davis, in his communication to Bahamians announcing the recommendation of Mother Pratt for the role, said that her appointment will be accepted as a representation for all Bahamians. Well, Mother Pratt goes into what it means to rise from humble beginnings, which she says sends a message to the next generation.
Well, I would like to think that it's a motivator for our young people, particularly the masses who are still down there, and giving them hope that they would believe that if can happen for Mother Pratt, it can happen for me. That's so important because today we hardly see people who you can emulate and say, well, I could, because most of them are born into that area of having it all. And so when you come from an area where you didn't have much and you've emerged, but it's all God. It's all God, you see. And so you've been working among your people for some time. You know the pulse of them, you know the needs. And so I'm able to address those needs. And I feel that, and this was during the time I was Member of Parliament. And so even when I moved on up the ladder, I was able to deal with the people because I had already knew what to expect and what not to expect.
As the first female-appointed Deputy Prime Minister, as well as the first female Minister of National Security, during her career as a frontline politician, Mother Pratt definitely sees herself drawing from those experiences in fulfilling her new role.
You know, you've learned a lot through politics, representing the people for so many years, because what made it easier for me in a sense too is that the people here where I live is who I represented. And so there are people who I know most of them. I know their needs, so I can address those needs, you see. I know what to do, particularly to our young men. And that's where my heart really is with our young men, because if I can reach them, I know that's half the problem solved. And so that's why I believe being a person who deals with people as a whole. Now many of us who are leaders and former politicians, we've dealt with people. But when you live among the people, that's a different story altogether.
Upon officially hearing about her appointment, Mother Pratt said she gave thanks to God, believing that, quote, He is the one who sets up and he takes down. She also expressed her gratefulness and appreciation to the Prime Minister, as well as the Bahamian people. For Jcn News, I'm Cale Campbell.
Thanks so much for that report, Cale. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back after these commercials.